Astroscale is a space startup dedicated to on-orbit servicing across all orbits. Tens of thousands of satellites are set to launch over the next decade. However, low Earth orbit is getting crowded and dangerous. Everything from rocket upper stages to non-functioning satellites to specks of paint from previous collisions, all orbiting the Earth in different and overlapping orbits at very high speed. ELSA, in its 2024 Space Environment Report, states the amount of debris in low Earth orbit is unsustainable. It goes on to say, without widespread adoption of debris mitigation tactics, that the future of space travel could be in jeopardy. There is estimated to be over 1 million pieces of space debris over 1 centimetre, that's about half an inch. These tiny objects can wreak havoc on working satellites, and they force satellite operators to expend limited fuel resources to perform regular avoidance manoeuvres. Worst case, it could cause a chain reaction, when one collision creates an enormous debris cloud that then causes multiple other collisions, creating vast debris clouds, making it almost impossible to safely use space. That's a scenario that hasn't happened yet. Founded in 2013, Astroscale is building vehicles for on-orbit servicing, end-of-life operations, active debris removal, and life extension missions. The mission statement is, develop innovative technologies, advance business cases, and inform international policies that reduce orbital debris and support long-term, sustainable use of space. Astroscale has a growing team of over 500 people. They're based in Japan and are expanded globally with offices in the UK, US, France, and Israel. By late 2023, they have raised a total of $383 million in funding and secured multiple contracts for on-orbit servicing technology development. Astroscale Business, Types of Missions. Let's briefly look at the types of missions Astroscale is working on. End-of-life services, abbreviated to EOL. Satellites run out of fuel, consumables, stop working or become obsolete. Whatever the reason, if the satellite is not deorbited, it can hang around in space for decades or centuries depending upon its orbit. Responsible space companies are exploring cost-effective methods to safely deorbit their defunct satellites. Astroscale addresses this need by assisting in the design phase, adding docking plates to a satellite, for example, can facilitate easily grappling and deorbiting of satellites at a later date. Many shareholders and government agencies expect commercial companies to take proactive measures to prevent the accumulation of orbital debris. Using Astroscale services can help reassure shareholders and licensing authorities that their satellites won't add to the orbital debris problem. The next type of mission is active debris removal, abbreviated to ADR. Astroscale is developing missions to identify and capture debris that is already in orbit. These objects were not prepared for servicing and can prove challenging to interact with. There's also the legal aspect of interfering with an object in space you don't own. Even if the object is non-functional, it's still owned by a company or entity. Another type of mission Astroscale is interested in is life extension, abbreviated to LEX. Large satellites can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to deploy. Having to replace such an asset that is functioning perfectly and providing real business value just because it ran out of fuel is a waste of money. Astroscale wants to provide servicing missions to refuel, repair, or upgrade existing satellites. These missions are called life extension missions. Some studies have reported that on-orbit servicing missions could be worth as much as $4 billion by 2028. The Hubble Space Telescope's history illustrates the significant value of the servicing missions in space. Initially launched with the flawed mirror, a space shuttle servicing mission corrected the issue, enabling Hubble to capture stunning images for decades. Additional repair and upgrade missions have further extended Hubble's lifespan, enhanced its scientific capabilities. This proves the value of servicing missions in space. The next type of mission Astroscale is interested in is called In-situ Space Situational Awareness, or shortened to ISSA. It's useful to check satellites in orbit. You may want to do this for various reasons. Perhaps the satellite stopped working for some reason and you want to know why, or its performance has degraded. You may also want to inspect other objects, perhaps orbital debris or defunct satellites. Whatever the case, government, space agencies, and even commercial companies could benefit from space situational awareness missions. Let's now turn to Astroscale Milestones. What have they achieved so far? Let's look at the most important milestones for the company. October 2021, Cosmic Mission. The UK Space Agency has chosen Astroscale to develop a mission aimed at removing 2 defunct British satellites from Earth's orbit. This initiative, known as the Cleaning Outer Space Mission through Innovative Capture, or COSMIC, will use Astroscale's proven rendezvous and proximity operations and robotic debris capture technologies, which have been successfully demonstrated in previous missions like ELSA-d and the ongoing ADRAS-J mission. For the COSMIC mission, Astroscale is working with many UK partners such as MDA UK. This company is famous for their robotic arm used on the International Space Station. Thales Alenia, Space UK, NAMO, GMV and Goonhilly Earth Station to deliver the mission. COSMIC will be designed and integrated at Astroscale UK facilities in the Harwell Science and Innovation Campus in Oxfordshire. Here is the current status of the mission. We'll keep you up to date as this mission comes closer to launch. In November 2021, Astroscale launches docking plate to capture defunct satellites. Astroscale reveals a universal docking device the company hopes will become standard on future low Earth orbit satellites. Astroscale calls on operators to prepare their spacecraft with a docking plate to prepare for future removal and to help safeguard the space environment. Nobu Akada, founder and CEO of Astroscale, said, "Over the last 6 decades, more than 12,000 satellites have been launched, and this number could more than quadruple in a single decade. We urge the space community to demonstrate real commitment to protect the space environment by preparing satellites with a docking plate for future removal." Astroscale's docking plate provides a standard interface that enables future servicing on orbit. They're customizable for different satellite designs and will enable both robotic or magnetic capture mechanisms to securely attach a servicer to a satellite. In January 2022, Astroscale US and OrbitFab signed the first on-orbit satellite fuel sale agreement. OrbitFab, the space startup that plans to provide orbiting gas stations, has signed a contract with Astroscale to provide their life extension servicing missions with fuel. Regular viewers will know about OrbitFab and their refueling technology, as I reported about them for a Space News video 2 weeks ago. In the agreement, OrbitFab will resupply 1,000 kilos, that's 2,200 pounds, of xenon propellant. This fuel supply contract allows each of Astroscale's life extension satellites to undertake multiple missions, reducing the need for frequent rocket launches and increasing the return on investment for each satellite. The life extension services offered by Astroscale include station keeping, altitude control, inclination correction, relocation in geostationary orbit, and retirement to a graveyard orbit. To support the fuel transfer process, Astroscale is integrating OrbitFab's RAFT-D. That stands for Rapidly Attachable Fluid Transfer Interface into its satellites. It's great to see 2 space startups working together. In January 2024 saw the completion of the ELSA-d mission. The ELSA-d, or End of Life Services by Astroscale mission, successfully ended with controlled deorbit of the ELSA-d servicer satellite using the remaining operational thrusters. The servicer is currently orbiting at an altitude of approximately 500 kilometers and is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up within approximately 3.5 years. The client satellite, lacking maneuverability, is projected to naturally deorbit within 5 years. ELSA-d was a test mission to prove the core technologies necessary for on-orbit satellite servicing in low Earth orbit. The mission, which consisted of 2 satellites, a servicer designed to safely remove debris from orbit, and a client that serves as a piece of replica debris, was launched by Astroscale in March 2021. The mission repeatedly demonstrated on-orbit capture via magnetic plates and rendezvous operations. Despite the servicer satellite losing 4 out of 8 thrusters, it was still able to complete its mission. February 2024, launch of the ADRAS-J, the world's first debris inspection spacecraft. Astroscale's ASTRA-J mission was successfully launched from New Zealand on a Rocket Lab launcher. This spacecraft was selected by the Japanese Space Agency JAXA for its commercial removal of debris program. Astroscale Japan is responsible for the design, manufacture, test, launch and operations of the vehicle. Eddie Kato, President and Managing Director of Astroscale Japan, said, "ADRAS-J is monumental for us as a company and for the entire sector, as the mission will demonstrate the essential RPO, that's rendezvous and proximity operations, capabilities for future in-orbit services." In June 2024, Astroscale's ADRAS-J closes in by 50 meters. ADRAS-J successfully completed the safe and controlled approach to an unprepared space debris object, a rocket upper stage, to a relative distance of approximately 50 meters, that's 164 feet, collecting further images and data while maintaining a controlled, fixed-point relative position from the upper stage. In April of this year, ADRAS-J captured an image of the spent second stage from a distance of several hundred meters. ADRAS-J is a groundbreaking mission as the world's first attempt to safely approach, characterize and survey the state of an existing piece of large debris through RPO, that's rendezvous and proximity operations. ADRAS-J is designed to demonstrate proximity operations including orbiting around the upper stage, gathering images to assess the rocket body's movement and condition of the structure. The mission will demonstrate some of the most challenging RPO technologies necessary for on-orbit services. In July 2024, Astroscale receives funding for the final phase of the ELSA mission. Astroscale UK, the UK office of Astroscale, has received €13.95 million, that's about $15 million US, to support the final phase of the end-of-life in-orbit demonstration mission. Set to launch no later than April 2026, it will be the world's first commercial end-of-life service for prepared satellites. That is a satellite that has been designed for an end-of-life mission by having a docking plate installed or some other means to enable docking and removal. The mission will be designed and built in Harwell in the UK. It will improve on the ELSA-d mission that launched in 2021 and was completed successfully in January 2024. The financing covers all of the following phases: flight module assembly, integration and testing, launch and commissioning, full in-house operations of successful docking, deorbiting and release of the client spacecraft. Okay, we're now caught up on Astroscale missions. Let's discuss upcoming events. There are two scheduled missions for Astroscale, both in 2026. The first is the mission we just mentioned, ELSA, which is now fully funded. The second mission is COSMIC, the mission to deorbit two defunct British satellites. We'll be sure to keep you informed on any news from Astroscale and their missions. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest news on commercial space startups around the globe, from rocket launchers to space stations, orbital tugs, lunar landers and more. If it's a commercial space startup, we cover it. See you soon.